Here were some of the projections from last season. This team went 6-6 in the regular season. Our projection had them at 7-5. I was actually a little bit higher on Arkansas. I had them at 8-4. The FBI had them at 6.5 and 5.5. The over-under was at 6.5. So really, this team underperformed last season. It seemed like they were more along the lines of a 7-5 type team, and they wound up, again, under the over-under, under the FBI, under our projection as well, going just 6-6. So let's see what the projection looks like for 2023. Again, here is the schedule. This is the scale that we'll be using. If it's a 50-50 game, it'll stay in the white. Those are games that we could really see going either way. Games where I think the spread will be less than a touchdown, less than 20 over 80. Those are games where I think the spread will be 20 or more, 20-29, 71-80. Those are games where I think the spread will be double digits, 10-19 points, 30-39, 61-70. Those are games where I think the spread will be around a touchdown, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 points in that range. So we'll start with the easy wins. They've actually got 3 pretty easy games on the schedule: Western Carolina, Kent State, and FIU. So you've got 3 wins that you can pretty much count on. I wouldn't say they're guaranteed wins, but close to it, especially Western Carolina. That one's probably at like 99 point something percent. Kent State, FIU might be closer to 95%, but again, the Arkansas will be favored by 20 plus points in all 3 of these games. So you count those as wins, and then you look at the games where another game I think they'll be favored in. Clearly, that's BYU. They went on the road, won that game easily last year, and I started to put this one in the blue, but Arkansas, they've got some question marks. They had some guys leave in the transfer portal. Defensively, had some struggles last season, so it's hard to really project where this Arkansas team is going to be. They have potential to be pretty good, but they also have potential to be pretty average. And again, that's mostly because of their defense. So, I don't think the spread will be double digits in that game. Probably 8 or 9 points would be my guess. If you did put that one in the blue, which I considered, then that would not change the projection. That would not change the projection. I'll explain why in just a minute. So how about the games where they're going to be underdogs? I think you got LSU and Alabama. They will probably be double-digit underdogs in both of these games. Boy, having both LSU and Alabama on the road, that is tough. And then Texas A&M, of course, playing them away from home. Ole Miss away from home. You potentially are playing the 4 best teams in the West away from home. So that's really difficult for Arkansas this year. But yeah, Alabama, LSU, I think they're clearly in that top tier. And playing them on the road, that's going to drop that all the way down into the orange. So a double-digit spread, I think, in both of those games. Probably around 14 to 17 points would be my guess. Probably closer to 17 for Alabama, maybe 13 or 14 for LSU. And then you look at the rest of the schedule. I mean, they've got a bunch of 50-50 games. Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Florida, Auburn, Missouri. I don't see a big spread in any of these games. I think the spread will be less than a touchdown in all of these games. But, by the time we get to the games and, Ole Miss, maybe they're rolling. Maybe Florida's playing pretty good. That game's on the road. You could see some of these spreads being 6 or 7 points. But some could maybe even flip towards Arkansas by 6 or 7 points. Auburn, if they don't pan out this year, Mississippi State, if they have a letdown, you could see, again, some of these games could go either way. But I think the best way to just do this projection would be to throw them all in there at 50-50. If I was going to guess, I think Arkansas would be underdogs against Texas A&M, Ole Miss. And Florida's a tough one because it's on the road. But I think Arkansas maybe would be a slight favorite in that game. At home, Mississippi State, Auburn, Missouri, I think they would be favored in those games as well. They've got a pretty nice schedule there down the stretch. After Alabama, it's not too tough. But again, I think there are too many question marks with Arkansas, with Auburn, with Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. It's so early that it's tough to really get a gauge on some of these matchups. So we're just going to put them all in the white in that 50-50 category and say that, really these games all could go either way. So when you do the math here, we count the green games as wins. LSU and Alabama are considered losses. We average everything else out. So BYU's at 65%. All these games in the white are at 50%. When you do that, you get 7-5. So that's the projection here. I talked about BYU. If you counted that as a win, that would not change the projection because they were closer to 6-6 than they were to 8-4. The wins were like 6-point 6.6 or 6.7. I can't remember the exact number. So if you bump BYU up into the blue and count it as a win, they would still be 7-5. It would raise that number. It'd probably be 7 point something, but it would still be 7-5. So if in case you were wondering, if you want to throw BYU in the blue, that's fine. If you want to really try to dissect some of these games, again, if you want to put Ole Miss and Texas A&M in the yellow, then I think you would probably maybe want to put Mississippi State, Auburn, Missouri, a couple of those games in the purple. So like I say, this is a very early rough projection, not any kind of prediction or anything like that. And just based off of this schedule, Arkansas projected to go 7-5 in 2023.